Okay, so as you guys remember, we are working on making inferences. So our objective today, what did you say, SWABAT?
SWABAT.
Students will be able to observe details from a source in order to make inferences which are connected to their prior knowledge and supported in writing. Can anyone tell me what our steps in this strategy are? Hint, hint, it's on your chart. What do you do first when you're making an inference?
Observations.
Make observations, which are, John, Tink, you were starting it.
Yeah,
What is it?
Details, factual information from a source that is non-debatable.
Yep, details or factual information from a source that is non-debatable. That's right here. Inferences, what is an inference, Medardo?
When you use clues from a text or visuals to figure out something the author or artist doesn't tell you.
An inference is when you use clues from a text or a visual to figure out something the author or the artist doesn't tell you. Xavier? Yep, what's a connection?
What prior knowledge do you have about these details that help you make your inference?
Yep. The connections are when you connect your inference to your prior knowledge. What do you know about this information that helped you to make the inference? So I just gave you guys what I said was your anchor chart. Looks like this. And on your anchor chart, you can see it has the definition of each observation, inference, and connection. And it has help for you as you're doing these steps. So when you're making an observation, you're either putting a direct quote, which can someone, Bree, can you read me what a direct quote is on your anchor chart, this paper?
These is words from
This, it should say this is.
Yeah. This is words from word information from the text or source placed in quotation marks.
Word for word information from the text or the source placed in quotation marks. Whenever you take information directly from the source, word for word, you put it in quotation marks. What does it mean to paraphrase? Korea.
Rewriting in your own words or something from the text or a source.
A rewording in your own words of something from the text or the source. Again, this comes straight from the source. These are observations. Remember, they're non-debatable. Rebecca, what is a summary?
A brief statement or account of the main points of something.
A brief statement or account of the main points of something. So taking something you read, still non-debatable facts from the source, but just making it brief. So for inferences, what do you do? These are the steps in bold here that will help you. Medardo, can you read these for us? On this worksheet, the paper copy you have.
Which one? Inference?
Yep, read the bold. Observe.
Observe all the facts, arguments, and information given by the author. Consider what you already know from your own experience. Think about the effects of the passage and what may result from them. Think about cause and effect.
So those are things to consider when you're making an inference. What do you know about what you've pulled out? What do you know about those observations? What isn't told to you, but you know when you're reading it, is underneath the meaning of the text. So for connections, John, can you read us what's in the bold for connections?
Yeah, what does this remind me of in my life? What is this similar to in my life? How is this different from my life? How has something like this ever happened to me? How does this relate to my life? What were my feelings
When I read this. So those questions under this column here are questions that will help you as you consider what connections you can make between the text and the inference. So today we're going to use 3 passages and we're going to do connections, observations, inferences, and connections. We've already done observations and inferences, but we're going to redo them, and we're going to do connections, and then we are going to support these in writing by completing a sentence starter. So, as always, I'm going to do one with you, for you, and you're just going to pay attention to what I'm doing, pay attention to how I'm thinking out loud. You're not shouting out answers to questions I ask, but you're doing exactly what I'm doing on the board, you should be doing on your computers. So anything I type, anything I highlight and turn into a different color, highlight and turn it into a different color with me, okay? So, passage 1, screech. Karen stomped on the gas pedal the moment the light turned green. She looked over her left shoulder and zigged past a semi-truck. She zoomed ahead and looked over her right shoulder and then zagged past a motorbike. Okay, so I'm going to highlight zigged past a semi-truck all the way to the word motorbike. And I'm going to go up here. Everybody look up here where it says text color. And I'm just going to change it to red.
Red. Which red?
The first red, right here.
You said from zig to motorbike?
Yep.
Okay.
Zig to motorbike, just like I did up here. And you can change it to whatever color you want. That doesn't matter. She glanced at the clock on the console of her vehicle and darted into the parking lot. I'm also going to highlight and change the color of the word darted. Whipping into a parking spot, she grabbed her suitcase and ran through the lot, up the escalator, and into the terminal. So whipping through terminal, this sentence I'm highlighting as well. Her heavy suitcase was smacking and bouncing the whole way. As soon as she entered the terminal, she heard an announcement over the loudspeaker.
Hold on, you said from whipped?
Yep, whipping to terminal.
You said highlight that in red too?
Mm-hmm.
And then there was another one, wasn't it?
As long as you have everything up here that's highlighted, you're with us. Everybody with us, give me a thumbs up.
I didn't catch that. That's what it was.
That's fine. Her heavy suitcase was smacking and bouncing the whole way. As soon as she entered the terminal, she heard an announcement over the loudspeaker. Final boarding call for flight 205 to JFK. So she entered the terminal. I'm highlighting this. And final boarding call for flight 205 to JFK. Karen looked at her ticket and then at the line to get through the security checkpoint, which wrapped around several turnstiles and slithered like a lethargic snake. So the line to get through the security checkpoint wrapped around several turnstiles and slithered like a lethargic snake.
The what?
Lethargic snake. Does anyone know what lethargic means?
Big.
Mm.
Yes.
Non-emotion.
No emotion. It can also, so if it has no emotion and it's lethargic, it's lazy, it's not what? Moving. Mm-hmm. Karen sighed and then slowly walked to the customer service desk. Okay, so everybody, if you give me a thumbs up if you have everything highlighted on the passage. Go down to your chart, everyone follow along. So remember, details or observations are details or factual information from the text. So right here we need our details. So I'm just going to go back and pull something that I highlighted and put that under details. And actually, I'm going to pull everything that I highlighted except for the last part. So zigged past a semi-truck. And remember, this is a direct quote. So I'm putting it in quotation marks like this. Whipping into a parking spot. That sentence I'm copying and pasting as well. And I'm gonna stop there. So that is what I'm putting under my observations. These are direct facts from the text that cannot be debated. They're in there. It's word for word. So using my anchor chart, I'm going to look at under the inference column that says, what do I include in this column? I'm observing all the facts and arguments and information, so I'm looking at this. What does this tell me? What is this information saying that is not directly stated? So what is the underlying message in this information? So what do I already know? Think about the facts of the passage and what may result from them, and think about causes and effects. Okay, so I know that when someone is zigging and zagging through traffic, they're usually in a rush, yeah. She whipped into a parking spot. That's another word that tells me she's probably in a hurry. And she ran through the lot, up the escalator, and into the terminal. So, the main character in this passage is Karen. So I can infer, based on this information, it doesn't directly tell me this, but Karen is in a hurry because she is going to miss a flight. That is my inference. Does the passage directly tell me this? No. But I can determine this because I'm making connections to what the text has told me. The connections column. What does this remind me of in my life? What is this similar to in my life? How is this different from my life? Has something like this ever happened to me? How does this relate to my life? What were my feelings when I read this? And if you guys remember from our It Says, I Say, and So strategy, we have questions that can help us with the I say and I think. You're doing basically the same thing here. You're making connections between this and this from your prior knowledge. So I know, just like I said when I was trying to make an inference, that when someone is zigging and zagging through traffic, they are in a hurry. I have done this before. That's how that connects to my life. I've done that. I know that terminal in this passage means the part of the airport. Yep, hang on one second. Where planes are. Okay, so now I'm going to do an I do, making a sentence out of my I do column. So pay attention. Again, I'm modeling this for you, so you're just listening to me. So I have that Karen zigged past a semi-truck. She zoomed ahead and looked over her right shoulder and then zagged past a motorbike. Whipping into a parking spot, she grabbed her suitcase and ran through the lot, up to the escalator, and into the terminal. That was what the text told me. So the source says, and I'm going to paraphrase here. I don't need to put direct quotes. And looking at your anchor chart, paraphrasing means a rewording in your own words of something from the text or the source. So paraphrasing, the source says Karen is rushing through, actually I'm going to go back and say zipping and zagging through traffic and running into the airport. So what I'm doing here is just taking what I've already put in my chart and I'm putting it into a sentence. And I know, I'm going to scroll back down so don't freak out. Hang on. And I know, looking at my chart, this is my connections. I know when someone is zipping and zagging through traffic, they're in a hurry. But instead of saying zipping and zagging this time, just to not be redundant, which means I'm not wanting to be repetitive, I'm going to say when someone is weaving through traffic in a hurry.
Oh, no, I know.
And therefore, so therefore is a transition word into my inference. So going back to my chart again.
So therefore you know that someone's late for their flight.
Therefore, because Karen was on her way to the airport and she was in a hurry, we determined she's going to miss her flight.
So therefore she's going to miss her flight.
So therefore, Karen going to miss her flight. So I took the first column, the third column, and the middle column and made it into a sentence.
Just tight. I didn't even know we did that.
You want me to
Yep, we sure did. So, looking back at the same passage that we just read, looking in here, is there anything else that we have highlighted in here that you might be able to make an inference about?
The line?
The line, what about the line?
That it's like, it said it wraps around like did it say a snake?
A snake.
Yeah.
And then Karen sighed and slowly walked to customer service after looking at the line. So are these things that we might want to put under observations?
Probably.
Okay, so line to get through the security checkpoint wrapped around several, those last two sentences, go ahead and copy those under your details column under we do. And what do we put around direct quotes? What did I tell you that we put around direct quotes? Anchor chart. Look at your anchor chart.
What were you saying?
No, quotes.
Quotation marks. So what can you infer? Karen walked back to the desk after looking at the line. What does it not tell you?
Oh, she's not gonna make the flight, probably.
Karen's not going to make her flight. So it doesn't tell you that she's not going to make her flight, but she looked at the line, and what do we know? We said lethargic means
Long and just
long
not
and
moving.
not moving. The line is too long and it is not moving, so Karen is not going to make her flight, is our inference. So now looking at our anchor charts, again, we have our anchor chart from our last strategy and this strategy. What do you already know about this topic? What prior knowledge did we just use to make this inference? It didn't tell us this, so how did we connect to the text to make this inference? It didn't tell us this, so how did we connect to the text to make this inference? How did we know this?
What was the question again?
What are we going to put in our connections?
I mean, you know she's gonna, the way didn't you say she sighed and went back to the desk?
She sighed and went back to the desk. So what about that? In your prior knowledge, what about that helped you determine
Size.
Yeah, when someone sighs, it's not always a good sign.
it is not a good sign when someone sighs? But just because she sighed and it's not a good sign, does that get us all the way to that she's going to miss her flight?
Mm-mm. But she went back to the desk.
So when you go back to the customer service desk, how many people have done that in an airport? Has anyone in here ever missed a flight? And what do?
Jump on that.
Well, you missed the plane. You can't jump on it.
Yeah.
You go and talk to someone who can get you on the next flight, right?
Get your money back or something.
You go to the customer service desk. You get on the next flight. So when someone goes to the customer service desk, instead of security at the airport, they have missed their flight. That's prior knowledge. There's another thing in here too that was prior knowledge. What word did we define? How did we know that line wasn't moving? Did it say that?
No.
Nope.
It said, what is it?
It said it was lethargic.
Oh, lethargic.
And what was lethargic, Medardo?
Wait, what was it?
What is lethargic? What did we say lethargic was? You helped us answer this question. Define the word lethargic. Tink, help him out.
Something that's not moving.
Something that's not okay. So lethargic is lazy and not moving. Medardo, what is lethargic?
Lazy and not moving.
Yep. Lethargic means lazy and not moving. Okay. So now let's do the sentence.
We're on the we do, right?
Yep, with the we do. So what does this source say for our we do? How can we paraphrase that?
So, okay, the line was.
Stop it with the desk, please.
I'm trying.
Then move to another one. The line was long and what?
And.
He wrapped around like,
What does it mean when it says, yeah, slow? Thank you, Korea. The line was long and slow, so Karen did what?
just went to the checkout desk.
She just went to this customer service desk. So now, down here for our sentence, the source says, the line for what?
For,
For the
not for
plane.
plane.
It wasn't the plane, but it was,
Customer service. I mean, we check out.
no, where do you have to go before you can go to get on your plane?
The pack? Never mind.
The,
Ticket
the
desk.
line for security
Ah.
was long and slow, so Karen turned around and went to customer service. Customo service. And what do we know? What did we put in that third column for the we do?
Oh, wait.
So what did, someone read this for me. The highlighted one.
When someone sighs, it is not a good sign. When someone goes to a customer service desk instead of security at the airport, they have missed their flight. I don't know how to say that word.
Lethargic.
Lethargic means lazy and not moving, therefore the line was not moving.
So, and I know. How can you summarize what we said we knew? What happens when someone goes to customer service instead of to their plane?
They missed their flight.
Yep. So, okay, and therefore, what was our inference? And therefore,
Karen missed her life.
Karen probably missed her flight, yeah. Now we're doing the you do.
It says you do, I do.
Yeah, just eliminate the I do. It should just say you do. But you're doing the you do in this order, okay? Looking at your worksheet, you have two passages that we didn't already read. You can use either of those. I wanted to give you options. Either or, not both. And you are doing the chart first. So your observations, your inference, and your connection. And then you're going down to the you do and doing your sentence. In that order. Details, inferences, connections, sentence. 4 things. Got it?